Alrighty then, today I'm going to pressure can some pork that my husband got on sale. And I can do it one of two ways. Today I'm just going to raw pack it like I did in 2014. It makes its own juice. Or you can use the new barbecued pulled pork recipe from the new Ball Cannon book, which is fantastic. But today we're choosing to can the little chunks of pork butt. I'm going to be leaving one space, and I'm not going to be adding salt. Salt doesn't have anything to do with the preserving it. It simply would add flavor. So if you're using a pint, so I've got my jars set up. They were run through the dishwasher the last time I used them. My Presto canner, the small one, can hold 8 pints or 7 quarts, and I'm doing pints because I'm canning for 2. I've got my cheat sheet set up so that I'll remember I need 1 inch of headspace. I'm going to process for 75 minutes. Mine's going to be at 11 pounds. And remember, I write down the time I start my vent and the time I start my pressure canning. And I'll still set a timer, but I've had a timer fail in the past. So it's just a little cover my butt kind of situation. I've already got myself set up for where I'm going to put my jars after they are processed and I take them out of the canner. Again, knuckle dragging canning. I get all set up first. I just have a small countertop tripod. The other thing I forgot to say was I have turned my lid over. I've checked that my little emergency relief is working. I've checked that my connections are tight. And the thing that I call a petcock, but is not, is also tight. And let's say that when I go to can, I get a leak. I do have in stock another rubber gasket. So I'm all set up and I'm going to get cutting up my big old pork butt. Wait till you see it, you're going to... So here is my beast at 10 pounds, 0.18. It's a monster and it's supposed to be boneless. So it was $45.71 with my card, $18.22. Can't beat that with a stick. And this is some serious protein, and anytime I want a pulled pork sandwich, I can make one. There's many other things you can do with it, but my husband and I like pulled pork sandwiches. So let's get going. Alright, so I'm going to move this monster over. My lids are already hot. Here it goes. Okay. So, I'm not going to go with a bunch of this fat. But I can tell you my knife is super duper sharp. And we will take this fat and any leftover things and we'll feed the creatures in my marsh. Because you know that's always exciting. Okay, so I'm going to chunk this up and I'll show you what one looks like in a jar. It ain't hard. You can do it. Don't be scared. Get you some food safe gloves if you don't want to touch it. I think it's icky. And then I got to sterilize my camera after this because every time I hit record, I got funk on my glove. Ew. And also, you're still going to use your Pokey Joe when you get your meat in here. Let's see if I can get you to where you can see it. Okay, so I smushed that down with my hand. Remember, I need 1 inch of headspace, which is right at that ring. Okay, so you're still going to use your Pokey Joe, and you'll be very much surprised how much more you can get into this pint jar. So... there's a little chunk more. So, and I'm still using this funnel because it helped me keep the rim of the jar clean, even though I'm going to wipe it down with vinegar before I put the lid on. So these generally hold over 1 pound when I do burger meat or anything. So there, look how much more I got in there. So don't forget to use your Pokey Joe. What is it called? I know what it is. Debubbler. Okay, so still use that. And this jar is room temperature. The food is cold from the refrigerator. But it's a raw pack that we're doing. So I don't need a hot jar because something hot's going into it. If I had a hot jar, it didn't have a hot jar, and I added something hot to it, I would risk cracking the jar. And these jars are my life. Okay, so don't forget to Pokey Joe. So there's my large chunks of fat from the pork. I ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pints. Now I'm going to move on to canning some chicken, but I will tell you that I'm using a new chopping block. I've super cleaned my knives, my Pokey Joe, my funnel that I used, and I've wiped my camera down because I'm going from pork to chicken. So I'm also using a new dish towel. I've already cleaned out my sink really well before I started with the chicken. So I can get 3 pints of chicken, which will be over a pound each, and then that way I'll have a full canner load. So now it's time for lids and rings. And of course I'm going to wipe down the outside. I'm going to do my pork first. Make sure nothing is on the rim of this jar to interfere with the seal. Get ourselves a warm ring. And I use the limp wrist method. I hang my hand loose, and then I get it finger tight by where I can't turn my fingers anymore. This has never failed me. So again, wipe down the rim. If I were going to add salt, I choose to add it to the top. I'm not adding any. You can add it to the bottom. You can add it to the middle. It's your piece of food that you're canning, so do what you want to do. So then I'm going to get this into the canner, and I like that I use my funnel so I don't have any grease on the edge, but I'm still going to wipe every one of them down. And I got 3 pints of chicken going in there too. It ain't hard, it's just canning. So they are in my pressure canner. I'll get the lid on and then I'll crank it up and wait till I get a steady stream of steam. Try to say that yourself. And let that vent for 10 minutes before I get to pressure canning for 75 minutes at 11 pounds. So you can see the water right there. That's all that happens, is it comes down. It's not broken. And I have checked all around the edge. Nothing is leaking out of the sides. So I know that my seal is good. So I'll just keep doing this exciting thing until my petcock, but it's not, pops up. Canning, ain't hard. And from other videos that I've done, do not force this creature up, whatever that is. Don't get it to pop up. Do not force it. As part of your safe processing is following the instructions. So that little bit of water is nothing to be concerned about. But do not force it up. It'll pop up when it pops up. It's science. Don't mess with science. Food safety, number 1. There we go. Now we're going to start timing 10 minutes for that steady stream. So here are my 5 pints of pork and my 3 of chicken. And if you can see, if I can, there you go, get away from a glare, is they are still processing. So when the instructions tell you, I waited till the pressure dropped, the petcock, but it's not dropped. And then I still waited 10 minutes before opening my canner to remove these. So everyone has made a ping so far, but when they tell you to leave them alone, some instructions say leave them unmolested. I never molest a canning jar, okay? It's not how I roll. Anyway, leave them here. So these will sit here till tomorrow morning, and then what I will do is I will clean these jars, and I choose to remove the rings when I store mine, and then I'll put them in my pantry, because sometimes you have some siphoning.